It's Friday, May 13th, 2022. We got a whole lot to talk about today. Before we do, please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and make sure you hit that bell notification down below so that you are alerted with the newest videos. Also, share these videos all over your social media. Share them with friends, family, people you know, you don't know. But let's get right into it today. As I said, a lot happening, and I want to know your thoughts on this. Dow Jones today up 466 points. S&P was up 93. NASDAQ up 434 points. Is everything okay now? Is everything back to normal because of today? Does the Fed have everything under control? Are these markets safe, sound, and stable? Or do we have big problems? Now, me personally, I wouldn't go into this weekend sleeping well just because of what happened today. We had to expect that somehow, some way, they were going to try to get these markets to rebound. And sooner or later, we finally saw that happen today. But year to date, these markets are being absolutely hammered. So what are your thoughts? Are they going to continue to get these markets to rebound? Is everything going to go back to some type of normal? Or do we have more volatility ahead? Now, I don't know about you, but what happened from yesterday to today that these markets, or the Dow Jones is up 466 points and markets across the board are up? What happened from yesterday to today? Maybe it's the 7.6% purchase of Robinhood by the 30-year-old billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay, so he bought a 7.6% stake in Robinhood. Technology or tech companies were up today, but most of them have been hammered. 50, 60, 70, 80% slammed from their highs. So why are the markets up today? What's the good news? Yesterday, Jerome Powell, Fed chairman, he came out and said he can't guarantee a soft landing as the Fed looks to control inflation. He said lowering inflation will involve some pain. Getting inflation under control won't be easy. This was said yesterday. And how in the world are the markets up today when the Fed chairman is saying this? I find it interesting that of all days, that today markets rebounded like they did after Jerome Powell said what he said. He's telling all of us that they are going to continue. They're going to continue raising rates. Another 50 basis point rate hike coming in June, and they are going to continue raising rates. Now, I think it's too little, too late. But when do these markets begin to price in the next rate hike of 50 basis points? And look at what the last one has done to these markets. Look at what the first one at 25 basis points, the second one at 50 basis points. Look at what these little minimal rate hikes have done to this fake economy and these fake markets. Okay, markets built on quicksand. Okay, there is absolutely no fundamentals in these markets now. This economy is shot. The economy is in a depression as far as I'm concerned. These markets are a joke. And to think that they're going to go up without the help of the Fed, you're dreaming. University of Michigan sentiment slumps back to 11-year lows as inflation fears surge. Currently, that number is at 59.1, down from 65.2 in April. Consumer assessment of the current financial situation relative to a year ago is at the lowest reading since 2013, but that's okay. Markets across the board up today. Again, we have such a disconnect from reality in these markets. It's a joke. If the economy is so strong, why are buying conditions for durables at its lowest reading since the survey began in 1978? Here's the one on CNBC. Inflation is costing U.S. households an extra $341 a month. Comment down below. How much is this costing you? If you drive a lot, it's probably costing you a lot more than $341 a month. Again, these numbers can be so manipulated. and so controlled. I can tell you, I know people where this is costing probably well over $1,000 a month. If you're a business owner, this could be costing tens of thousands a month, hundreds of thousands a month, millions a month, depending on the business that you're in. 70% of this country lives paycheck to paycheck. This country, the consumer, is not going to survive paying an extra $341 a month when they were already living paycheck to paycheck. This is getting really out of control, ladies and gentlemen, and they can tell you how great everything is because the stock market bounced back today, but these markets have been absolutely annihilated this year. And we are going to continue to see rate hikes. Somebody wrote me a couple days ago and said they're not raising rates in June. Look, they're raising rates in June and they're going to continue raising rates. That's just the way it is. Can they let off the gas pedal at some point? Yes, they can, but that is going to cause severe damage with the US dollar if they do that. I don't think people understand. They just believe that once it gets bad enough, the Fed will just bring in QE, stop the QT, and they will lower interest rates and all of our problems are going to go away. No, that will just be the beginning of bigger problems. That will be the beginning of hyperinflation. If you think the economy is bad right now, if you think inflation is bad right now, if you think shortages are bad right now, you ain't seen nothing yet. I dare the Fed to reverse course, lower rates, and start printing a ton of money and wait to see what you're going to get. This will be hell on earth. This will be a nightmare. If you think it's bad right now, wait till you see. If they reverse course and start printing money and firing up those printing presses, you ain't seen nothing. You are going to see devastation that you only read about in history books. Again, 70% of this country living paycheck to paycheck. Inflation costing on average households $341 additional a month. I don't know how people are doing it. I don't know how families, couples with kids, I don't know how they're doing it. You know, I was having some barbecue in Alabama, and a family of three little kids, mom, dad, sitting down having barbecue, and I'm thinking, you know, that had to be probably $8,500 right there to feed 5 people. I just don't know how people are doing it. But I guess a lot of people are just charging it, and that's the reality of it. Buy now, pay later is not a boom. It's a bubble, Harvard researcher says. And here we go. Again, with the buy now, pay laters, the credit cards, the plastic. Consumers are using buy now, pay later on just about everything, it says in this article. Get this. Now, this is startling. Again, it's concerning. 4 in 5 U.S. consumers use buy now, pay later on everything from clothing to cleaning supplies, according to Experian. This while 70% of the country lives paycheck to paycheck. Something is going to break, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot have a society where 70% of it is living paycheck to paycheck and millions upon millions of people are now reliant on buy now, pay later loans and credit card use. And people are acquiring so much debt, and a lot of people don't even care. I read an article today where they were saying 18 to 36-year-olds, they're just going to live. They're not going to save any money. They're going to spend everything they have. They're going to go into debt. They don't care about the consequences. They're going to live for today. And, you know, people will say, well, why do I care? It's none of my business what people do with their money. It shouldn't matter to me. Worry about myself. See, this is going to affect me. It's going to affect you. This a kind of recklessness that we're seeing at the very top to right down to the average consumer. This recklessness and out of control spending is going to affect you. It's going to affect me. And this is what is going to cause this Great Depression, the greatest depression we have ever seen, because we cannot control our spending from the very top all the way down to the consumer. This country's been living on a credit card. This government's been living off a credit card. The Fed's been using a credit card. The consumer using a credit card. And we're all going to pay for this irresponsibility. That's why I care. And I care about my brothers, my sisters, and this is why I make these videos, to remind all of you, to reiterate, to repeat daily, get out of debt. Don't get into debt. You know, the best way to never become a drug addict is never do a drug. The best way to never get into debt is not be reliant on credit cards and getting yourself into debt and buying more than you can afford. Just don't do it. They get people addicted to these credit cards and now buy now, pay later loans. When people start buying household goods on credit, that signals a problem, said Marshall Lux, Harvard researcher. Buy now, pay later's rapid growth is driven primarily by younger consumers, with 2/3 of buy now, pay later borrowers considered subprime. Lux noted, making them especially vulnerable to economic shocks and downturns. 42% of consumers who have taken out a buy now, pay later loan have made a late payment on one of those loans, Landing Tree has found. Another potential bubble is forming, according to Lux. So you look at the amount of credit card debt, now buy now, pay later loans. I mean, they're getting so creative, so exotic. Personal loans, you've got payday loans, and people just cannot stop spending. And now we have millions of people who need these type of loans, who are dependent on credit cards, on buy now, pay later loans, in order just to buy cleaning goods for their homes, in order to buy essentials. This is very scary. CNBC, U.S. consumer is alive and well. A firm CEO says market turbulence has no impact on business. A firm holding CEO, Max Levchin. Now, you know, this is another buy now, pay later plan, told CNBC Jim Cramer on Thursday, affirm customers are spending healthy. They're shopping, they're buying, and they're paying their loans. Wow, that's all I can say is wow. What are they buying? Are they buying food? They're buying shoes? They're buying cleaning material? But everything is okay because they're buying. They're spending, they're buying, and they're paying their loans. Everything is okay. Look, if everything was okay, you wouldn't be dependent on a credit card, and you certainly wouldn't be dependent on a buy now, pay later loan. I mean, this is where we're at. Everything is okay because people are using buy now, pay later loans, and they're buying things with it, so everything is okay. Think about that. This is how sick the economy is. This is how weak the consumer really is. They can't go out there and use cash. They have to use a loan to go out and just go to the grocery store. I mean, this is really getting serious, ladies and gentlemen. And as I said, get your debts paid off. Get out of debt right now. At least get your debt manageable. If you have no debt, whatever you do, do not go into debt now. We are heading into a depression, ladies and gentlemen, and they want you to continue using credit cards and these other loans as we head into a depression. Soon, they will admit that we're in a recession. This is the worst possible time to be taking on debt. U.S. airline bookings dropped 17% in April as flights got even more expensive. I'm not even going to tell you how expensive it was to fly to Alabama, but what I will tell you is the planes that I flew on, American Airlines, packed like sardine cans. Okay, very expensive. The most expensive airline ticket I'd ever purchased. And the most uncomfortable plane ride ever, multiple plane rides. So I had a layover in Dallas, and then we continued on to Alabama, and then came back. We had a layover in Dallas, came back here to Palm Springs Airport. But the plane, 218 people, not one empty seat. I had a crying baby, one row behind me, crying nonstop throughout the whole trip, coming home. And you know, if you traveled, you know, back in the day when I was a little kid, you know, 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, it was a big deal to get on a plane. When I grew up in Chicago, My dad loved to come out to Palm Springs, you know, January, February. So we would take a break from school, me and my sister, and we would jump on a plane and we would head out to Palm Springs for a few weeks and then maybe go into Orange County, see my grandma for a week. But it was a big deal. You know, even as 6, 7, 8 years old, I wore a suit. You got dressed up. You had a nice spacious seat. They fed you lunch or dinner. It was a whole different experience back in the day. And wow, has it changed. And I haven't flown in a long time. I hate flying. But the experience, you are just treated like cattle, a number. And there is nothing fun about it. The airports are uncomfortable, they're crowded. And of course, you know, we have an obesity epidemic here in America. So, you know, think about, you know, 218 people on one of these planes. I mean, you talk about being just uncomfortable. And I'm a little bit claustrophobic to begin with. And, you know, when the person sitting next to you is 330 pounds, I mean, I'm not small, but I'm not obese. But the seats are so tiny, and I'm 6'3". I mean, my legs are just smashed into the seat in front of me. It's just a terrible experience, and, you know, avoid flying at all costs unless you really have to do it. And unfortunately, you know, I had to do it to look at property out in Alabama. U.S. to boost baby formula imports to ease nationwide shortage after Abbott nutrition recall. So I'm reading all these stories. I'm watching all this stuff on the news. I watched something this morning. 43% of baby formula is gone. There's literally nothing on the shelves. So we have this massive 40+% decrease in baby formula. And all I can say is this: how embarrassing. It is so embarrassing. Here we are, the United States of America. We brag about how wealthy we are. We brag about our military. We brag about just everything that we have here, the amount of food and all of our capabilities and our technology. We can't unload ships out here in Los Angeles and Long Beach. And now we can't even supply infants baby food. We can't even feed our infants here in America. Now we're going to rely on other nations to import. We're going to import baby formula. Why are we not doing this here in America? Why do we not have other companies doing this? Why are we always resorting to the world to come and save us? So again, we can't unload cargo ships. So we have this shipping crisis. Now we have a baby formula crisis. Now we're running out of diesel. I mean, where am I living? Is this a first world country, or am I in a third world country at this point? Supply chain breakdowns. Now 1 million acres of lease land for oil has been shut off at the worst possible time. I mean, I don't get it, ladies and gentlemen, but this is an embarrassment now that we can't even feed infants here in America. Americans are using plastic to make ends meet as prices continue to rise. This on The Hedge, as they were interviewing Peter Schiff in this article, he said hourly earnings have risen 5.5% over the last year, but real earnings are down 2.6%. So how are Americans making ends meet? Comment down below. The answer is they're charging it. Is this affecting you? Is it affecting people you know? Comment down below. How is this inflation affecting you personally, or friends or family members? We'd love to know. Total consumer debt rose by $52.4 billion in March. That's a 14% increase. Outstanding consumer debt now stands at $4.54 trillion. U.S. consumers are buried under $15.8 trillion of credit card debt, student loan debt, and auto loan debt. I mean, this is unbelievable with what we are witnessing, ladies and gentlemen. We are taking on so much debt at the worst possible time. I do not know how we're going to get out of this. Revolving credit, primarily credit card debt, rose by 35.3% in March. American consumers added $31.4 billion to their credit card bills in a single month. That is because they have to now. They have to. Credit card debt is now sitting at about $1.1 trillion. That's near the all-time high. And Americans are soon going to be paying more in interest to service those cards. And they're going to see those minimum payments rise also. Annual APR currently stands at a little over 16%. Isn't it nice that while the banks were getting money for absolutely, literally nothing, that they pass on the savings to you with 16% interest rates on your credit cards? Wasn't that nice of the banks? They're so thoughtful. Look to see the average APR rise above 18% by the end of this year. Americans now owe $3.44 trillion in non-revolving debt, student loans and auto loans, up $21 billion year over year. But hey, the stock market is up today, so everything is going to be okay. This is really, really troubling. We are at a place that we've never been before, and I don't know how we ever get out of this mess. How does the system not crash when you have this much debt? This is beyond the Great Depression. Okay, when you look at the debt that we had back then to today, it is not even close. We got 43 million people on food stamps. Imagine seeing 43 million people in soup lines. The national debt, the deficits, everything's exploding. We're not slowing down. We're continuing to spend out of control. And people say that nothing bad can happen because it's America. So nothing bad can happen. And that is such dangerous thinking right there. Every one of you watching this video today, continue to prepare, put the cash away, put the metals away, put the food and water away. Make sure that you have your house in order. Make sure you have security. Make sure you're walking close to God. The economic recovery we heard so much about was built on stimulus and debt. Imagine where we would be right now without that $6 or $7 trillion. But imagine now the damage that we're going to see because of that $6, $7, $8 trillion, where people just thought this was free money. Go buy cars, don't pay rent, go take a vacation, go to Vegas. And I read an article today, Vegas is seeing record-breaking gambling. So am I out of my mind? Am I completely wrong? Am I misreading the data? Or is everything okay? And everybody's in Vegas gambling billions of dollars, people buying cars, buying houses in these massive bubbles, overpaying massively for cars, overpaying massively for homes. Is it just because everything's okay and people have so much money that they can do this? I don't get it. The Fed ran up its own credit cards doing what they just did with all of this stimulus. Now, your stimulus is gone. Your savings is running out. And for many of you, your savings may already be out. And I don't have an answer how to fix this other than we got to stop spending. And people individually have got to stop living over their heads. And as I've said before, and I'm going to say it today again at the close of this video, it is already too late. You may be watching this video and it may already be too late for you. People have acquired so much debt that the cash out refis, the leasing of the cars, buying homes $100,000, $200,000 over the asking price or appraisal price. Just all of this craziness that is taking place, all this fear of missing out. And people, to me, this is just me, but it seems to me people have been just suckered, duped, and fooled into these markets, into the housing market, and they just have absolutely no control. And these will be the people who pay the ultimate price. These will be the people knocking on your door for help. These will be the people who were driving a nice car at one time, living in a nice house or a nice condo. These will be the same people homeless, living in a tent. And there may be people out there laughing and shaking their heads that that could never happen. I've met and talked to too many homeless people who once had a job, owned a nice car, owned a house, who are now homeless. And, you know, all it takes is a little bad luck, medical bills, credit card bills, losing a job, going through a divorce, having an accident, no family to fall back on, and boom, you're homeless. And it can happen, and it's happened to a lot of people. Not everybody's a drug addict out there. Not everybody has a mental disorder. There are normal people. Many people living in parking lots or in tents that they go to work every day and drive home to their parking lot, to their tent, or sleep in their car, and yet still working every day. But the cost to live day to day is gotten so out of control that many people are now forced to sleep in their cars or sleep in a tent, yet go to work every day. And we have a problem where things are so expensive, food, housing, energy, that people cannot save money. How do people save up enough money to put a down payment on a house, put that security deposit down on an apartment? They can't get ahead. Many people are hardworking people, and they didn't ask for this. They didn't ask for the system to go completely out of control. They didn't ask for the economy to shut down. They did not ask for this. And I feel sorry for those people. I really do. But then on the other side, you have people that are going to live recklessly, spend recklessly. They're not going to save. They're going to just hope and pray that somebody comes and saves them, that the system will send them another check, that things are going to be okay. And those people are going to be in very, very big trouble. And I don't feel sorry for those people. Again, an article that I read, 18 to 36-year-olds mainly, not all, but this article said many in this group of 18 to 36 are just going to live for today. And we have people 46, 56, 76, don't care. They're just going to live for today. And they're completely 110% unprepared for what is to come. My heart goes out to the people with kids out there, the hard-working people of America, working 2, 3 jobs. Out there in the Ubers, the Lyfts, working at the restaurants, doing whatever they can do on a construction site, working at a retail store, whatever, cooking at a restaurant, just doing something, being productive. And that's what you got to do. Right now, you just got to keep your head down and just take on those side hustles, work, put the cash away, get the debts paid off. You are a sitting duck. You are a target if you're in debt right now. It is going to be so hard to stay afloat when this thing really begins to accelerate. And the people with the debt, they're the first ones to sell everything. They're the first ones to go down. They're the first ones to lose it all. That's because of debt. I'm going to leave it there today. God bless all of you. Share this video, like it, make sure you subscribe. I wish I had better news, but and watching these markets today, it's a joke. It's laughable, absolutely laughable. Look at the real news. Look at the real data. Look at what's happening to real people. This is a disaster, and you better get ready for it.